Okay guys, full disclosure, I have debated about whether I was going to even post this video because I'm using a piece of equipment that is not very new or up to date, and for the second or third time now it did not record any audio. So I'm gonna have to do a voiceover for this entire very long video, and I'm asking for your grace and your patience, and hang in there with me because we will get through it. But what comes out of my mouth may not always perfectly match what's on the screen, but I think the content is good and the information is good, and we'll get through this together. My name's Crystal, you're watching What Was Mommy Thinking, and I'm so glad that you're here. Alright, so we're going to start with my little list of doing a weekly check-in for my spending for the last week, stuffing the envelopes for the February 5th paycheck, which is the first paycheck in February, and then stuffing my wallet weekly envelopes from my monthly envelopes. I think the easiest thing to do first will be to check in with the weekly spending, and then to stuff my monthly cash envelopes into my weekly cash envelopes so we can get both of those put aside and just focus on our sinking funds. If you are new here or you haven't watched any of my budget videos before, this little binder here is my actual wallet. I carry it in my purse. It is the Happy Planner Skinny Mini, and I love saying that. But it's the Happy Planner Skinny Mini in the Happy Planner Mini purse. I carry it with me everywhere, and it keeps my funds just for that week with me so that I don't overspend, because I'm paid once a month and all of my cash envelopes for the entire month are stuffed out of that one paycheck, but I need to break it down by week so I don't overspend. These smaller weekly envelopes that I carry in my purse with me have actually become a lifesaver for me. They help control my spending and they help me track better. Prior to these, I used this larger binder, which is the Skinny Classic Happy Planner with the larger envelopes in it. And again, I make all of the envelopes for all of my Happy Planners. If you need a review on that, I can link the Budget 2021 setup video here for you. But I used to keep all of my monthly amounts in these larger envelopes, and then when I would go to buy groceries or gas, or especially the eating out, that was the killer, I would see all of that money in there and I would tend to overspend instead of sticking to a specific amount per week. And then as I got towards the end of the month, I always found myself feeling shorted or not having enough towards the end of the month. In my Skinny Mini, it came with a calendar just like every planner does, and I use that calendar to track my spending on a weekly basis and also to track paychecks. So this is this week, and I've been tracking what I spend, and I typically highlight it and color code it, but I haven't fully completed this one, so I'm going to need to update that with you guys here today. And it's just the cutest little calendar because at the beginning of the month you have like this perpetual page, and I use that to list our paydays for the month. So you can see Rob has a couple here and then my once a month there at the end. So when we look at this week, I shifted my shopping days this week to Kroger on Tuesday because their sale ad was ending, and then I did Walmart on Thursday and Friday, and then I put the categories here at the end so I can tally everything up. Because I don't have everything filled out completely, we're going to update that together, but I'm going to need to get my big planner out that has my ledger in it in the budget section, my regular Happy Planner, and we'll update those together, and I'm definitely going to need my calculator for that. Before we get too far into that though, I'm going to go ahead and grab my highlighter and highlight the ones that are filled out. I try to be consistent with my colors. Grocery shopping is always highlighted yellow. I'm going to leave it blank here because I have to go in and fill in these totals right here, and I'll do that from my big planner. I'm going to go up top and highlight the ones that I do know, and then we'll go in and pull my big Happy Planner ledger and update these totals here for Thursday. So this is my planner. It is my brain. It is my beauty, my wonderful, amazing planner that I love. It is a Franken planner, and I can link above the video on how I set it up, and I am trying a new budget tracking system for February. This is the Happy Planner Budget Extension Pack that I'm using, and this is the expense tracker ledger page. So I'm just going to take my Skinny Mini out so that it makes it easier to update. And I've already in my ledger, one of the things I love about it is with the date, I can go ahead and list each expense by category. So I break down a receipt by category and write those amounts in, and I can highlight them their specific color, which makes it so much easier for tracking. So I'm just going to go ahead and transfer all of these amounts over from my Walmart receipt. As you can see, I had grocery and home maintenance and miscellaneous and Valentine's Day, and I also had one other there, and I'm going to just go ahead and write those amounts in so that I can then take my highlighters and get those completely done up correctly. And I will match the highlighter color coding from my ledger over into my Skinny Mini. So in those categories, home maintenance was $27.75, miscellaneous was $50.30, cosmetics was $11.89, Valentine's Day was $22.33, and grocery was $69.49. The Sam's total was all grocery, and I'm going to go ahead and highlight that yellow. And if you didn't already know, my grocery also includes any household expenses as far as paper products, cleaning products, anything like that. And then we use home maintenance for things like I had to buy the pre-filters for our air purifiers this week. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight all of those categories. And then in this little note section on the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and correlate the totals with the same colors as well, so that as a glance my eye is automatically drawn to, and I can focus in on one specific at a time if I need to, or that I can kind of get a big picture of what it is. I use the green for home maintenance, purple for miscellaneous, blue for cosmetics, pink for Valentine's Day, and again yellow for grocery. These highlighters are my favorite highlighters. They are the Pilot Friction erasable highlighters, and you heard me, they are erasable. I'll give you guys a close-up view of them here in just a second when I get done highlighting my totals for the week. Okay, so this is the Pilot Friction erasable highlighters. They are fantastic. They come in a color pack of 5, and I'm not sure if you can buy more than 5 different colors, but so far I just have the 5, and I'm really loving them. So let's go ahead and get a total of everything that we have spent this week in all of the categories. The first one we're going to add up is our groceries. So at Kroger's it was $49.32, at Walmart it was $69.49, Sam's was $63.35, and that second Walmart grocery trip was $38.81 for a grand total of $220.97. That total is above our goal for the week, which was $175, but it is still lower than our budgeted $250 that we normally use. And when I did plan the budget this week, I did not physically take the cash down to $175. I still allocated the $250 with the hopes of having money left over. We have a ton of dietary restrictions and special needs in our family that sometimes causes our bill to go up a little higher than it should. And if you want to see why it's a little over, watch that grocery haul video from tomorrow. Next, we're going to add up Valentine's Day. I'm so grateful for this sinking fund. I spent $9.73 at Kroger's. I spent $22.33 at Walmart on the first trip and $11.84 on the second trip for a total of $43.90. It was so nice to have that money in a sinking fund and not even have to think about it. Next, we're going to add up the home maintenance, miscellaneous, and cosmetics. Most of those were a one-stop shop, so we'll just carry over. For home maintenance, it was $27.75. Miscellaneous was $50.30, and cosmetics was $11.89. It meant a lot to me that as I sit and look at this and look at these totals, that this time last year, you guys, I would not have known where all of this money was coming from. To be able to break things down into these very specific categories and know that I've accounted for every one of these with some type of sinking fund And to know that in my effort not to spend outside of my cash envelopes and my sinking funds, that I've had yet another successful week really makes me feel like I'm making progress in my journey to financial health. This $220.97 from groceries, it bothers me a little bit just because I went over, but I'm going to make every effort I can in the 2 remaining weeks in February to make up that difference of the $45.97, almost $46, to try and make up that difference, because I was really hoping to have a surplus at the end of the month that we could either put towards a large Sam's Club trip or put it towards our debt snowball and make some more progress in that area, just from being able to cut back on that grocery category and live more off of what we have in the pantry and freezer. Overall, I'm not too upset with it. It's still well below the $250, but I would have liked to have made it in under $175. Overall, though, I'm really pleased with this. We are going to be home this weekend. We have no plans to go anywhere, so I don't anticipate any spending this weekend for Saturday or for Sunday. So I do anticipate that these will actually be our weekly totals. Now let's go ahead and look at stuffing the weekly envelopes out of my monthly envelopes. There are, again, all cash envelopes. In my grocery cash envelope, we allow ourselves $50 a week for the fresh produce, and I do transfer that $50 over. I did spend last week's $50, so let me put my planner aside here really quick, guys, so that I can grab my classic skinny here and go into my grocery envelope. And yes, I know it's still not labeled. How about if I promise to have it labeled by next Valentine's Day? Would that work out? So anyways, I'm going to open my grocery envelope and pull it out, and there should be $150. There should be a $50 for this Friday, a $50 for the 12th, and a $50 for the 19th, because again, on the 26th is when I get my once a month paycheck, and I will restuff the envelopes for the month of March out of that. I'm going to go ahead and take my $50 out for this week, and on that ledger that stays in the monthly cash envelopes, I'll write today's date that I'm taking $50 out, and there should be $100 remaining. Then I will go ahead and make sure that I have two 50s, so that's 50 and 100, and get this put back into the monthly cash envelope so that it is ready for next Friday when we transfer week 3's funds from the monthly envelopes to the weekly envelopes. Then I'm going to grab my ledger for the week, write today's date, February the 5th, that I'm putting in my weekly allocation of $50, and that should give me a balance of $50. All right, and with that 50, we'll get that back in the envelope, and we are good to go for the week. As I mentioned last week in my video, the gas money that I have in here, if I didn't use it, I wasn't going to be adding into it. I did not have to get gas this week, but let's go ahead and take a peek and make sure that the same amount is in there. I should have $60 in this envelope because that's about what it takes to fill my tank, and sure enough, there's 20, 40, 60. So I'm not going to add to it or take anything away until I need to get gas. Okay, it's time for my nemesis envelope, which is eating out. As I mentioned last week, my birthday was on Sunday, and we had planned to eat out for my birthday, and I fully expected to use that money, and sure enough, I was right. It doesn't happen often, folks, but it does happen. As you can see, we started with 75, we have a balance of 0, and I actually had to dip into my birthday sinking fund and pull another 20 out to make the weekend go off as planned. So in my eat out envelope, we get $100 a month, so that allows me $25 per week. So I should have money left for the 5th, the 12th, and the 19th, which would be 3 20s and 3 5s. So let's make sure that we have $75 in this envelope. 20, 40, 60, 65, 70, 75. Yes. So I'm going to take 25 out and just put in today's date, February 5th. I'm taking out my weekly allotment of $25, and that'll leave me with 50. So I'll take a 20 and a 5, and I'll move that down to put it with this cash envelope for the week. Move that right under here and make sure that I still have 50. 20, 40, 45, 50. Perfect. So let's put this away, and then we'll update my weekly envelope. And I know it seems like a lot of steps, guys, but this really does help keep me accountable. So on my weekly envelope ledger, I'm going to go ahead and write in for today's date on February the 5th that I'm adding my $25, and it'll give me a balance of $25. And that way we still had a ton of fun for my birthday, but I didn't blow the entire month's money of eating out in one bunch like I would have in the past. So we've got 25 in there, and we're gonna get that put away. I feel really good about the fact that I know that in my monthly envelope, I still have enough money to fund the paycheck, well, not paycheck, but the 19th and the 12th, so that if we do decide to eat out, I know that I've got that $25 if I want to grab a pizza or something for the kiddos for a special treat, or if we decide to grab something. That really does save me and keep me from coming to the end of the month and not having enough. So with the pets, I didn't spend anything on my pets. They're well taken care of and don't need anything. Allowance, we go over on Saturday with our boys. I'll show you their little clear envelopes here. And what we do is every Saturday we sit down and review whether or not they've met all the requirements to earn their allowance. I'll add their $5 a week, add the date on here, and then I just keep this in their little envelope with their name, and they get to spend it however they want to spend it just because they earned it. That is their money to spend. All right, that should do it for our monthly cash envelope transfer into our weekly cash envelopes. So we can go ahead and put all of this aside and get to the fun part, which is the sinking funds for that first paycheck in February of 2021. And like I said, guys, this is the classic skinny, and I make the cash envelopes for it. If you're interested in that, there's a link to my Etsy shop below, and this is the skinny mini. So my transfer back and forth between the two of these has been the perfect solution for accountability for me because of the once a month pay. And if you have any suggestions, I'm definitely open to them. But I'm going to put these aside and grab my sinking funds notebook. Let me put this back in here though. This is my wallet though. I take this with me everywhere I go. And I'll put my paper clip back on the week that we're in just in case I need to track anything else. And I love that I was able to reconcile it with my budget pages in my actual happy planner that's Frankenplanned. I'm gonna throw my hot pink Sharpie back in here and get this closed up. All right, guys. The very next thing we're gonna do is put this away, that away, and head into those sinking funds. In order to do that, I'm gonna need my planner, and this is where we left off, was with my ledger page, but we're gonna flip over because when I plan the paychecks on the very next page, I also planned each of my cash envelope sinking fund envelope planned for each payday. This is a little sheet that I use to plan what denominations and increments are going to go into each of the envelopes, and this is that page. So I'm going to have this open, and I'm going to use my little sheet here that I use as a reference because this is going to tell me which envelope is getting stuffed, which amount, and then which denominations from this little cheat sheet below are going to go into each envelope. I'm also going to take the time to write the starting balance of each of my cash envelopes, and then on the column where it says paid, make sure that I give a check mark for once I get that envelope stuffed. This is the sheet that I use, that I made on a Word document just to give you guys a close-up. Every payday I list which sinking funds I'm going to stuff, what denominations, and these are those columns, the balance and the paid columns, and we're going to complete all of this as we go along with the cash envelope stuffing. I keep calling it cash envelopes, but today really is sinking funds. So I'm going to grab the cash that we got at the bank and go ahead and get it set out, and I will show you guys the little slip that is the other piece of that Word document that we hand the teller here in just a second. Here it is. So it has the pay date on it, and then I go through and how many of each denomination, and then I give a total. All right, so let's get that cash put out there. That seems to be everybody's favorite part. I'm going to zoom in just a hair so you guys can see. And I'm going to try and get it all in the shot. So we'll do 100s first, then the 50, and there's only one, and some 20s, the 10s, the 5s, and my 3 lonely little ones. Okay. Now let's grab those sinking funds. This is the classic Happy Planner purse. It fits any classic planner size. And again, I use the skinny classic planner, just like I do for my monthly cash envelopes. I use that for my sinking funds as well. So when you open it up, that's what it is. And just to save some space and some energy and effort, I'm going to take this out of the binder. I make all of these envelopes myself and love to make them for other people. If you're interested, please make sure to let me know. So I'm going to pop this out and just put the purse aside, or the binder or the cover or whatever you want to call it, so that I can get everything that I need to right in front of me. All right, let me move this over just a little bit. I want to make sure that you guys can see the most of it. I know it's not perfect, but I wanted to be able to use the sheet and update the sheet as I go along too, just because, you know, this is a new tracking way for me and I really want to give it a fair shot. So the very first envelope that we're going to be stuffing today is the vacation envelope. And that one's right here in front of birthdays. And we're going to open it up and pull out the ledger and see what we're starting with, and it should be $200. Okay, let's check and see. Now I'll put that on the balance at the beginning, that it was $200, and we're going to be stuffing it with $200. So let's check. 1, 2, so we've got that, and we're going to grab 2 more $100 bills, write down February 5th, $200 deposit, and that'll give us a balance of $400. So I'll grab those 2 $100 bills and add those to the mix and make sure that we have $400. 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. So we'll put this one away and move on to the next one, which is going to be our home maintenance fund. That was one of the funds that got a little bit of use this week that you saw when we did the weekly check-in, because I did have to buy those filters for my air purifiers. So we'll flip to that, pull the ledger out, and see what we have left. All right, it looks like we should have $92 left because we did spend that $28. So we'll write that beginning balance of $92, and then we're going to put $38 into it. So I'll grab a 20, a 10, a 5, and those 3 ones. And those are the only ones that I had, so we'll scooch this up a little bit better. And I'm going to write in for February the 5th. I am adding the $38. And that should give us a balance. I might need my calculator for this one, guys. I know it's $130, but I just want to confirm with my calculator because my brain ain't all it's cracked up to be. So let's make sure that 92 plus 38 is 130. Perfect. So let me get this money put in here, and then we'll count it up. All right, let's do this. 50, 70, 90, 110, 120, 125, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. And we'll get this put away in that envelope. All right, so the next one we're going to do is vehicle maintenance. It just so happens to be the next envelope in the booklet. We're going to pull this out and see what we're starting with. And it looks like we're starting with $100. I'll write that in my little ledger here. And let's see, today's February the 5th. We're going to add $40 today, which will give us a total of $140. And I'm just going to grab 2 20s for that. And let's count and make sure we have 140. That's 20, 40, 60, 80, 120, 140. Sticky fingers. All right, so we'll get vehicle maintenance put away. And the next one that we're going to do is the Big Mama Jamma. It is the Christmas sinking fund. Now, I have done separate funds in the past, but for us, Christmas is the one envelope that includes everything. It's Christmas gifts, Christmas shopping, home decor, travel, vacation, after Christmas sales. It's all of the above goes into one envelope, and we keep everything in there. And then when we get to the end of the year and see what we have, we'll divvy up and allocate it into those different categories. We should be starting with $6.50. So let's make sure that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, $6.50, and we're going to be adding $330. So I'm going to write down that we started with $6.50 and check off that we are stuffing that with $330 more. So I'm going to take 3 100s, a 20, and a 10. All right, let's get that added in, and that should give us, let me put this away and then we'll update the ledger. So today is 2/5, we're adding $330, which should give us a total of $980. And let's count that out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 50, 70, and 80. All right, we're right on target there. Let's get that put away, and the next envelope is going to be family pictures. I'm gonna check off that we stuffed this one first though. Okay. So family pictures is up towards the front, and I don't keep the cash envelopes and sinking funds in any particular order because the ones that I'm able to stuff on my husband's paydays, they vary by paycheck because the bills vary by paycheck. And once I find out his pay dates and I figure out what bills I'm going to pay, that dictates how much money I have left over each paycheck, and that helps me decide which sinking funds I'm going to be able to stuff out of each paycheck. I make sure that they all get stuffed at least once during the month, but it does change, so I don't keep them in any particular order. So for family pictures, we're starting with $145. Let me write that in as our starting balance. And we're going to add $25. So I'm going to grab a 20 and a 5 and put February the 5th, $25. And that should give us a balance of $170. Let's go ahead and count that up. 20, 40, 60, 81, 20, 40, 50, 60, 65, 70. All right, so we have $170 for our family pictures. We'll put those away. And the next category is cosmetics. Now for us, cosmetics was something you saw me use in the weekly check-in. It has to cover any cosmetic products for myself, any skincare, and any skincare for my 2 teenagers. So it gets a lot of use. So we're gonna go ahead and open that up and pull it out. And I believe, yep, there's only $10 in here. So we're gonna go ahead and update for 2/5 that it's getting $70. And the end balance will be $80. Again, so this fund has to cover quite a bit for us. All of my cosmetics, all of my skincare, any special skin needs or skin creams, and all of the skincare for my 2 teenage boys. So it gets a lot of use, and we're trying to keep it as small as possible but still useful. So I'm going to grab a 50 and a 20 and add that to the mix. So 50, 70, 80 makes this fund right on target. All right, the next fund that we're going to go and do is the Easter fund. I'm sorry, it's Valentine's Day fund. I got that backwards. So we're gonna do Valentine's Day, and again, this was another fund that you saw me use quite a bit of, and it says that we should have a starting balance of $62. I actually know that even though there's only 60 in here, 20, 40, 60, I have a little post-it note that says I owe you 2 singles because I didn't have the money to make change when I took money out to put back in the bank from using this. But I am going to go ahead and add today's date, 2/5, and that we're putting in $10 more, and there should be $72 in the fund. So I'm going to grab that 10. And even though there's only 20, 40, 60, 70 in here, I also know that I still owe it $2, and I will take care of that as soon as I get the proper change. So we'll stick that back in here and make sure to go ahead and update my ledger. The next fund is going to be Easter, but I don't want our poor little St. Patrick's Day envelope to feel left out, because guess what, Pat? We're coming back for you. So let me go ahead and throw in here and update that we did Valentine's Day. And let's head over to Easter. Poor little St. Patrick's Day. As I said, these aren't in any particular order, so I do have to move forward and then come back to it sometimes when I'm stuffing, and I'm perfectly okay with that. So in our Easter envelope, we should have $100. And let's go ahead and make sure it says 100, 20, 40, 60, 80, 90, and 100. Awesome. So today we're going to be adding 20. Just going to write in today's date, February 5th, add that $20 and give me a balance of $120. Grab that 20. We'll make sure we have 120. 20, 40, 60, 80, 1, 110, 120. Yay! Okay, so this is going back in the Hop Hop Easter Bunny envelope. And we will update that ledger. And then we will move on to the next one, which just so happens to be Mother's Day, right here next to it. Take a peek. It says here on the front we should have $150. Let's count it. 20, 40, 60, 81, 20, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Yay. Okay, so we're adding in today $25. I'm going to grab a 20 and a 5. Put those in and update the little ledger here to say February the 5th, $25 for a grand total of $175. And let's make sure. 20, 40, 60, 81, 20, 40, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75. Whoop, whoop. All right, so let's get that put away and update our little... Come on now. You can do it, Crystal. There we go. Okay, so we're going to update in my planner that we had a starting balance of $150 and that we were able to stuff it with what was budgeted. And in true fashion of equality, we're going to go ahead and do Father's Day, which should be the exact same. It should be $150 to start with, and we will stuff it with $25. 20, 40, 60, 81, 20, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. All right, so there's our 150. And then we're going to add in for February the 5th, we're putting in $25, which will give us a balance of $175 for the daddies, the papas, the padres. So there's a 20 and a 5. Add this in and give it a count. So 20, 40, 60, 81, 20, 40, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75. 175. Back in the little envelope it goes. Okay, so now we're going to roll on back and see little Mr. St. Patrick. After I update my little ledger, 150, paid. Cha-ching. Okay, so we're going to travel. Oh, I'm sorry, I lied to you. We're going to do 4th of July because, you know, that's how we roll. 4th of July should have $55 in it. 20, 40, 50, 55. And today it gets a whopping $5. So on February the 5th, we're going to add $5. It will end up with a total of $60. You know what, guys? Every little bit counts. So that $5, that matters. 10, 20, 40, 50, 55, 60. There we go. Fast counting. Not always accurate. But every little bit counts, and that $60 will come in very handy. I'm going to go ahead and update my ledger. That we started with 55. We were able to fund it. And then we're going to roll on back to St. Patrick. Saved the best for last. My husband is Irish, so St. Patrick's Day is important. We do a traditional St. Patrick's Day dinner, and I always like to get the boys a little something. So I don't need a lot in this fund, but every little bit helps. So we started with 20. You see 2 tons. Today is February 5th. We're going to add that $10 and give ourselves $30 to celebrate the luck of the Irish. All right, 10, 20, 30, and we'll get that put away. So that is the last of the sinking funds that we're going to stuff for today. I'm going to go ahead and get all of these closed up. I love when I'm able to do this and I don't have money left over. If you've watched any of my budgeting videos, you know that that doesn't always happen. I'm going to take a look at these ledgers and make sure that I've checked off every one of these as a little accountability marker for myself. Make sure my beginning balance and my paid is checked off. And this sheet is going to correlate with my master sinking funds tracking sheet that I have in my planner. This little ledger is just for the stuffing itself, so I'm all done with it. I'm going to put it aside, and I'll show you guys that master sheet. If you watched my February budget setup video, you saw this. It holds 2 months on a page, and on this far column, I've got in pencil in parentheses what the balance of each sinking fund is, and I've got them separated by paycheck by that line and by these color-coded dots on the side. And with each category, you can see here in the blue ink, I deducted out what I spent this week. So that middle column is for pluses and minuses. What I have in pencil is what I had budgeted to stuff into the cash envelopes as a plus, and then there's a slash mark for any subtractions. So throughout the month, anything that I spend out of each of these categories, and then I'll go over and erase what's in parentheses until I get to the end of the month and can write the total in ink and transfer it over to the next month. So all of this will just keep carrying forward, but I don't want to write anything here in ink until the end of the month when I'm done using all of the funds or adding to all of the funds so that it is the correct amount to transfer over. I love having this here because it's sort of like a glimpse into it, and as I spend anything, like you can see here that we started cosmetics with $10. I started the month with 20, but that negative 10 made it a 10, and sure enough, when we went to stuff that envelope today with that $70, it actually had the 10 in it. So it's just one more checks and balance for me. Again, it's a new system, but so far I'm loving it. And I told you guys that I would give you kind of an update on what I was thinking of the system. So far today, we did these envelopes. I love having all of this here right next to my paycheck budget for that week. I love how this correlates with the master sheet, and I can compare and contrast, and I am really loving this tracker. I love that for this tracker, I can put the date, who I gave it to, and separate by actual categories. I did white out that credit category and make it a planned, unplanned. I've been using that. I love that I can go ahead and separate these, get them highlighted, whether it was a want, a need. I'm just really, really loving this system right now. I'm separating the dates with this solid black line, and then if I have multiple transactions in one date, I'm just using a line over the date and the amount column, and then each day is separated by that black line. It just helps me visually to hone in on a specific date, and then I'm using the little dot there to help me find the date since I didn't use a color-coded ink with it. But it's all things that I'm learning that I can adjust for next time. But for right now, this is working, and I've got some more tweaks to it, but I'm loving it. So this is that monthly view. I'm going to go ahead and check off that this bill got paid. It's an automatic draft one. And then today I was able to make that debt snowball payment to my belt card, which felt amazing. And guys, if I wasn't able to track and stay on track, there's no way possible I would have been able to make that debt snowball payment today, and I'm so grateful. So that wraps it up for today's cash envelope sinking fund stuffing for the first paycheck of February 2021. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to spend with me as I go through this and for having patience with me. I hope that you will hit that like button and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos. And until next time, guys, take care of yourselves, be well, be financially well,